aid group Oxfam is appealing for support from the government and private sector to help with rebuilding efforts after Typhoon Rai ripped through the Philippines almost 2 weeks ago. Typhoon survivors have been cooped up in cramped evacuation centers, stoking fears of a COVID-19 outbreak. At least 400,000 homes were damaged by Typhoon Rai. Oxfam Philippines says priority should be given to the distribution of shelter repair materials, and that's on top of relief efforts for food and water. Oxfam has distributed hundreds of hygiene kits, food packs, and sleeping kits to help those affected. Now, for more on the rebuilding efforts, Niña Abogado from Oxfam Philippines joins us now. Now, Niña, how are the COVID-19 concerns complicating things, given that we know that evacuation centers are also quite cramped at the moment?
Okay, it's really difficult, the situation in the evacuation sector of the affected families has been delaying, of course, the recovery and access to humanitarian aid. In the evacuation center, there are around 3 to 4 families staying in one room, and as it is, it's difficult to observe the minimum health protocols for COVID.
Now, what are some of the other major concerns and worries among the typhoon survivors who are currently living in these shelters at the moment?
Primarily, of course, access to basic needs such as food and water is primary concern. And second, of course, the need for protection and shelter is really at the top of concern of families affected by Typhoon Rai. Since the landfall and Christmas until now, they're staying in evacuation center because there are no lacking still repair materials or even construction materials to rebuild their houses. And this really affects the family and put them into high risk, of course, of acquiring a COVID, especially in the time of the pandemic. Among other things that are needed by the families are safe and clean drinking water, sleeping mats, hygiene kits, among others, and water containers so that when water is available, they can quickly access water. Another emergent need of the families is access to electricity. As we know, if there's no electricity, there are also issues potentially of protection. Families in the evacuation centers have no partition. And sometimes they also bathe in open spaces because of the low access to water. So all of this, combine this, all issues put them more in a higher risk.
Now, clearly the issues are quite overwhelming here. What is Oxfam doing on the ground to help? And also, what are some challenges that you're facing at the moment?
Some of the efforts that Oxfam has been doing since the landfall of Typhoon Rai is to prepare some communities we are supporting in Eastern Visayas to have access to preemptive cash. So it allows them to prioritize their needs, such as stockpile foods that they need or evacuate in safe places 3 days before the landfall of typhoon. But in other areas severely affected, and we are focusing our efforts on two provinces right now has been severely affected by Typhoon Odette. One is Surigao del Norte, where around 9 municipalities have been provided with access to sleeping mat, emergency repair kits, water and sanitation hygiene. And in southern Leyte, 2 municipalities have also been provided with a solar kit. So until now, we are still currently distributing food packs, water kit, hygiene kit, sleeping mats, and even emergency kits to 1,000 families, particularly in island villages that is not accessible in mainland of Surigao del Norte. And we also call for special attention on these island villages because they are the least accessible. And one of the challenges also, that's why some of the recovery of these communities are really slow because of logistics issues. Transportation have been severely affected. Roads are still not clear. electricity and mobile connection are still down, so which makes it a really logistical and coordination nightmare to support immediate recovery of typhoon-affected families.
Nina, thank you so much for your insights. That was Niña Abogado from Oxfam Philippines.